May pasensya na po kayo. Okay, good morning everyone. Welcome to my physical science class. Okay. So, I'm happy to explore new things with you today. But before we proceed in our discussion, please bring your self-learning modules and then your pen and your notebook to jot down your notes. Okay. Our today's topic is harnessing energy from different sources. Okay, so our today lesson objectives at the end of this topic, discuss the different sources of energy, differentiate between sources of energy, and explain how energy is harnessed from alternative sources such as fossil fuels, biogas, geothermal, hydrothermal, solar cells, batteries, and solar mass. Okay. So before we move on to our new lesson, let us have a review. So this is the time for review. Okay? So all you have to do is answer all the questions in your okay, so you're going to answer the questions. Okay, so I will read some of the questions. Okay? So let's proceed. Number 1. What does a catalyst do? A. Stabilizes a reaction. B. Cools the reaction down. C. Increases the rate of reaction. D. Increases the concentration of the reaction. Okay. Any volunteer to answer question number 1?
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am.
C po, increase the rate of reaction.
All right. Very good. Okay. So, catalyst increases the rate of reaction. So, the answer for number 1 is letter C. Okay. Next question. Will you read, Victoria? Hello po, Victoria. Okay, mahina siguro yung signal niya. How about you, Clarence? Will you read?
Which reactant control the amount of product formed in a chemical reaction? A. Composition. B. Excess. C. Limiting. D. Mole.
Okay. No, number 2 question. Which reactant controls the amount of product formed in a chemical reaction? Okay, what do you think is the answer?
Letter C. Limiting.
Okay, very good. So let's reveal the correct answer. So the correct answer is letter C. So class, limiting reactant controls the amount of product formed in a chemical reaction. All right, the last question is, will you read, Gamaliela?
In order to determine the limiting reactant in a particular reaction, one must know each of the following except A. The coefficient of each reactant in a balanced equation. B. The molar mass of each reactant percent. C. The mass of each product formed. D. The mass of each reactant percent.
Okay, what do you think is the correct answer? Any volunteer?
Letter C. The mass
All
of
right.
each product.
Ano? So, the correct answer is letter C. So, guys, in order to determine the limiting reactant in a particular reaction, one must know the mass of each product formed. All right. So, before we proceed to our lesson, so let us rearrange the following unscrambled letter to reveal the terms that we will use in this lesson. So let's begin with the first word is, what do you think, class?
Geothermal.
All right. Say ma'am if you want to answer. So class, do not answer in chorus. All right. So may I see if your answer is correct? All right, guys. The correct answer is geothermal. Okay, next. Unscrambled word, letters. What do you think is the answer?
Ma'am, ako po.
Yes po.
Batteries po.
All right, very good. The next word is batteries. Next.
Fossil fuel po.
Okay, awesome, So the correct answer is fossil fuel. Next word.
Ma'am,
Yes,
hydropower po.
very good. No? Hydropower. Next is Glenmark.
Solar cells po.
Okay, very good. Solar cells. Next, Francisco.
Biogas po.
Okay, very good. Biogas. Okay, how about the last one? Ashley.
Biomass po.
Okay, very good. So, the correct answer is biomass. Okay. So, perfect. So, I guess you are ready for our lesson. So, let's begin. Before we could formally begin in our discussion, so let's have some facts about energy conservation. So, do you know, your mother always reminding not to open the fridge for too long. Okay, what do you think? Any volunteer? Why your mother always reminding not to open the fridge or the refrigerator for too long?
Ma'am, kasi po masasayang yung electricity na nire-release.
Very good. How about the others? All right, and also you are correct. So, yes, your mother had a reason. Okay, so because every time you open the fridge or the refrigerator, approximately 30% of the cold air escape and it causes more power consumption. Okay, so if there is a more power consumption, what will be the next? Any volunteer? If we use more power consumption, then what
Lalaki
will
po yung
happen?
bill.
Again? May I hear
Lalaki
your
po yung
answer?
bill.
Okay, tataas ang bill. Yes, correct. No? So if there is more power consumption, okay, so it can cause higher electricity bill. Okay. Okay, so let's begin. Okay. So energy is defined as the ability to do work, and it is essential in our daily lives. Okay, class, no? So we already know this. Okay, so it is indeed that energy is very essential in our lives. Okay, what do you think, or what do you think, why energy is very important in our everyday lives? Any volunteer po? Okay, no? So, class, try to imagine if the world is without energy. So, imagine natin. So, I know that all of you are all imagining, no? Okay, so if the world is without energy, what do you think will happen to us?
Ma'am, ano
What's
po, it
life?
will be lifeless po.
Again?
It will be lifeless.
Okay, it will be lifeless. Okay, correct? So, it means that energy is very useful to us. So, if life is without energy, okay, of course, humans uh, do not carry activities, okay. So just like class, the industry cultural sectors, so they are the big consumer of large amount of energy to operate their machinery. And then, how about in the offices? Okay, in the offices, okay, energy is used to operate, no? Conditioning units, what else? Aside from conditioning units, computers, okay. So, at the school, okay, in this new normal, one of the important, electronics, that we need to use is the copying machines, and also the printers. Okay. So without energy, we can produce self-learning modules. So that is why it is very essential, especially to us. Okay. So at home, we also use energy to make our life comfortable and convenient. Okay. So in transportation, fossil fuels are used to on buses, trains, ships, airplanes, and even the cars, tricycles, case, mga e-bike, all right, so and other types of transformation system. So that is why it is very essential in our everyday lives. Okay. So class, okay. So we have energy sources, and it is divided into two categories. Okay. So namely, we have renewable and non-renewable energy resources. Okay. So there are many forms of energy that exist. So these energy sources can be classified into again, we have the renewable and non-renewable energy. So when we say renewable energy, okay, so these are replenished naturally over a short time. Okay. So, on the other hand, a non-renewable energy source will run out of supply once consumed because they are only present in limited amounts. Okay, so the question is, how can we actually harness energy, okay, from these sources? Okay, so to answer this question, keep on listening. All right. So, the first energy source is the fossil fuel. Okay. So, what is fossil fuel? Okay, will you please read your self-learning module? Okay, what is fossil fuel?
Tama ko po.
Yes po.
Fossil fuels are a general term used to refer to combustible products of buried organic matter which underwent partial decomposition under extreme temperature and pressure. These include coal, oil, and natural gas. The components of fossil fuels are heated and vaporized to steam, which derives the turbines and generates electricity.
All right, no? So, and oil in the form of gasoline is used as engine fuel for vehicles and in generators, lawn mowers, leaf blowers, and small boat motors. So, heating applications use natural gas and coal. So, however, fossil fuel is known to pollute the environment. So, its reservoir is limited and will last for 100 years. So, imagine that, Okay. So, again, fossil fuels are formed mainly from plants subjected to high temperature and pressure for millions of years. Okay. So, the natural gas, petroleum, and the coal. Okay. And also, fossil fuels are what we call they are all hydrocarbons. And they are burned to produce energy. Okay. So, petroleum and natural gas formation. So, okay, so it begins with the tiny marine plants and animals. Okay, so they died and were buried on the ocean floor. Over time, so the marine plants and animals were covered by layers of silt and sand. Okay, over millions of years, the remains were buried deeper and deeper. So the enormous heat and pressure turned the remains into oil and natural gas. And then today, we drill down through layers of sand, silt, and rock to reach the rock formation that contain oil and natural gas deposits. So, it takes a million of years, to have a fossil fuel. Okay, so how coal was formed? Okay, so before the dinosaurs, many giant plants died in swamps. Over millions of years, the plants were buried under water and dirt. Okay, so when heat and pressure turned the dead plants into coal. So that was how coal was formed. Okay, so the next source of energy is the biogas. Okay, will you please read what is biogas in your self-learning modules? Any volunteer to read?
Ma'am, ako po.
Yes po.
Biogas, the source of this is animal manure. When bacteria decompose manure anaerobically or without oxygen into a gas mixture composed of about 60 to 70% methane, biogas is obtained. This is important in generating heat, hot water, or electricity. The leftover digested manure can be used as fertilizer, bedding, mulch, and potting soil. Biogas enables farmers to produce their own electricity and reduce water contamination, odor pollution, and global warming emissions caused by animal waste.
All right, So biogas, is okay. So this source of energy is from animal manure, no? Okay. So when the bacteria decompose manure anaerobically or without oxygen into a gas mixture composed of about 60 to 70% methane, biogas is obtained. Okay. So biogas is important in generating heat, hot water, or electricity. So biogas is a type of biofuel that is naturally produced from the decomposition of organic waste. So anaerobic digestion is a natural form of waste to energy that uses the process of fermentation to break down organic matter. Okay, so from the manure, food waste, biosolids, silver waste, So anaerobic digester, okay, so digestate fertilizer, and that is good for our plants. Okay. And then produce biogas, which is used by human, or produce electricity, heat, fuel, and then the gas grid. Alright. So, next source of energy, the third one is geothermal. Okay, any volunteer to read? What is geothermal energy?
Ma'am,
Yes po.
geothermal energy is the energy harnessed from beneath the earth. There is a high temperature inside the Earth's crust by the slow delay of radioactive particles. Groundwater will be heated up by the hot rock which will later produce steam. The steam moves turbines. The rotating turbines run the generators.
Okay,
It is
So, continue.
It is clean, sustainable, and environment friendly. The problem with this is can only be produced at selected sites worldwide. The largest group of geothermal power plants in the world is located at the Geysers, a geothermal field in California, United States. In the Philippines, some geothermal power plants include Makiling, Banahaw, or Macban. Geothermal power plant in Laguna, Leyte Geothermal Power Plant in Leyte, and Tiwi Geothermal Power Plant in Tiwi, Albay.
All right, So geothermal energy it is the energy harnessed from beneath the earth. Okay. So would you believe that so it is clean, sustainable and environment friendly rather. Okay. So it refers to energy contained in underground rock and fluids. Okay, so it is used to power, Okay, steam turbines and generate electricity. So how does geothermal energy work? Okay, so let us know. Okay, so the first one, heat from the Earth's crust creates steam. Then, steam rotates turbine. Okay, then after that, generator produces electricity, and lastly, water is injected back into the ground. Okay, so that is why, so it is clean and environment friendly. Okay, next source of energy is hydropower, or what we call the hydrothermal. Okay, will you read, Clarence?
Hydrothermal energy refers to the heat obtained from hot water from hydrothermal vents or seawater in contact with hot rock beds. Hot water from hydrothermal vents is collected into a heat exchanger. The heat from the water is transferred to another fluid which evaporates and drives the turbine to generate electricity.
Alright, ano? So, refers to heat obtained from hot water from hydrothermal vents, or what we call the seawater, ano, in contact with the hot rock beds. Okay, so hydropower utilizes water to power machinery or create electricity. So, the dam raises river level, ano, creating drop of water. Then, turbine turn the force of falling water, and then the generator turn the turbines produces electrical energy. So the transmission lines carry electricity to homes and businesses. All right. So next source of energy, batteries. Will you read, Francisco? Francisco?
Batteries Batteries are devices that store and convert chemical energy into electrical energy. The energy produced results from a chemical reaction. However, they do not have carbon dioxide emissions. When it is connected to an external circuit, elect- electrolytes move within the battery and the chemical reaction are completed at the two terminals of the battery. The movement of electrons generate the current and sends electricity to the external circuit. For households, batteries can be used to provide backup power in case of blackouts. Batteries are not considered as major energy supply because of performance and safety issues, regulatory barriers, the resistance of utilities, and cost.
All right, ano? So, okay. Thank you, Francisco. Okay, so batteries store chemical energy that can be converted to electrical energy once a device is attached to the battery. Okay. So, let's say for example, ano, at home, ano, if there is a blackout, okay, so it is useful, ano, to use the batteries, but it is costly. So that is why it is using of batteries is not advisable to use permanent, or to use for a long period of time. So okay, so it is used when there is an emergency, if there is a blackout. Okay, another source of energy is the solar cells. Okay, what is solar cells, Ashley?
Solar cells. These devices are made up of elemental silicon Photovoltaic cells or solar cells convert sunlight into electricity. Light energy is collected over panels. The collected energy can be stored in batteries or can be directly converted to electrical energy. Solar batteries power spaceships and are used to provide electricity for weather instruments in remote areas. Large solar panel fields are often used in the desert to charge small substations, and many homes use solar systems to provide for hot water, cooling, and supplement their electricity.
Okay, what is the problem using the solar cells? What is the problem with the solar cells?
Pag po maulan,
Okay. Ano? Pag po maulan? Okay, how about the others? Clarence, what do you think is the problem with the solar cells?
Kapag may araw mo lang po siya magagamit.
Kapag may araw lang magagamit. Alright? So, class, so the problem with the solar cells is only certain part of the world get enough direct power of the sun to generate usable power from this source because of its geographical location and also the atmosphere, the climate. Okay, so let's say for example, uh, okay, so if there is not enough sunlight coming from the sun. So that's the problem. Aside from that, okay, solar energy storage is expensive. Okay, weather dependent, yes. Okay, and uses a lot of space. So solar energy reduces electricity bills and a renewable source of energy. Okay. So solar cells are often bundled together to make larger units called solar modules. So themselves coupled into even bigger units known as solar panels. Okay. So a solar panel cells generate power by capturing sunlight. So there are sometimes called photovoltaic cells or PV. Okay. So the photovoltaic cells, okay, so the sunlight coming from the sun, okay, uh, is the main source of energy to produce electricity. Okay, so next source of energy is biomass. Okay, will you read? Victoria.
This uses organic material like crops, plants, trees, yard clipping, wood chips, and animal waste, and is commonly used throughout the world. The materials are bent to generate heat. The heat produced can be directly used to the daily chores like cooking food and boiling water. By burning the biomass in a boiler, the generated heat is used to produce steam, which drives the turbines to produce electricity. One of its issues is that it produces a large amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. This causes air pollution.
All right, so the uses, organic material, like the crops, plants, trees, yard clippings, wood, ships, and animal waste. Okay, so that is the commonly used throughout the world. Okay, so biomass energy or bioenergy is the energy from organic matter. So this resource can be used to produce biofuels. Okay, so biomass sources. Okay, so we have the sewage, agricultural crops and residues, forestry crops and residues, and then, okay, industrial residues, okay, and also the animal residues, and the municipal waste. Okay, so those are the biomass sources. Okay, so plant leaves convert sunlight into chemical energy, so which is stored in the plants. So animals that eat the plants store chemical energy in their bodies. So some of it also remains in manure and other waste. Okay, so all right. So that's all for today. So now let's have a learning challenge. All right, class. Do you remember? Okay. So what is renewable energy sources? Anyone who would like to say about renewable energy sources?
Ma'am,
Yes.
renewable energy sources are replenished naturally over a short time.
Okay, so it is replenished, okay, in a short time. Okay. How about the non-renewable energy resources? Okay, very good. Okay, how about the non-renewable energy resources?
Ma'am,
Yes.
non-renewable energy source will run out of supplies once consumed because they are only present in limited amounts.
All right, and it is produced million years ago. Okay, will you please class any volunteer to give one example of renewable energy resources or energy sources?
Mama ko po.
Yes po, Clarence.
Geothermal energy po.
Okay, correct. Okay, how about for non-renewable energy resources?
Mama ko po.
Ma'am,
Sige po. Muna, ladies first. Sige
fossil
po.
fuels
Natural gas po.
Okay, so we have the fossil fuels and then the natural gas. Okay, very good. Okay, so for our assessment, you are going to answer the given questions. Okay, so please bring your notebook and pen to answer those questions. Then after that, okay, so I will reveal the key to corrections. Okay, are you ready?
Yes,
Let's
ma'am.
Okay, let's begin. Number one question. Which of these is used to run turbines in thermal power plants? A. Water. B. Coil. C. Steam. D. Ice. 1.
Ma'am,
Okay.
ma'am.
Later po.
System.
Okay, number 2 question. Write your answer in your notebook. And then after that, we will answer. Okay, number 2 question. Which of these is a renewable source of energy? A. Solar energy. B. Hydropower energy. C. Wind energy. And D. All of the above. Okay, next question. The power plant which converts potential energy of falling water into electricity is what we call blank. A. Nuclear plant. B. Thermal plant. C. Hydropower plant. D. Wind plant. Okay? Next, number 4. Which of the given is a non-renewable source of energy? A. Wood. B. Sun. C. Fossil fuels. D. Wind. Okay, last number. In a hydroelectric power plant, more electrical power can be generated if water falls from a greater height because blank. A. Its temperature increases. B. Larger amount of potential energy is converted into kinetic energy. C. The electricity content is increases with height. And D. More water molecule into ions. Okay, class, are you ready? Please check the correct answer, the letter of the correct answer, in your notebook. Okay, are you ready? Okay, so let's answer. So these are the key to corrections. Okay, number 1, who got this the correct answer?
Ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Only one? How about the others? Okay, same answer. So, number 1 is letter C. What is letter C? Number 1.
Steam po.
Steam.
Alright, steam. Balikan natin. So, which of these is used to run turbines in thermal power plants? So, the answer is letter C. Okay, number 2. Which of these is a renewable source of energy? What is the answer, class?
D
Di
po.
po.
Okay, very good. So, okay. Next is the power plant which converts potential energy of falling water into electricity. What is the answer?
C po.
C po.
Alright, very good.
C po.
Hydropower plant. Okay, so is the power plant which converts potential energy of falling water into electricity. Okay, next, which of the given is a non-renewable source of energy? Non-renewable.
C
Alright,
po.
so we have
Tipo.
the very good class. Okay, number 5, what is the answer?
B
D
po.
B po.
Di po.
Ano talaga, class?
B
Okay,
po.
the correct
Both.
answer is letter B, as in boy. So, in a hydroelectric power plant, more electrical power can be generated if water falls from a greater height because larger
B
amount
po.
of potential energy is converted into kinetic energy. Alright, you got it right. Okay. So, this is the essential question, How can we be sure to never run out of energy? How can we be sure to never run out of energy?
Mama ko po.
Yes po.
Mandami pong pagkukuhanan ng energy. May renewable energy naman po tayo katulad po ng hydrothermal, solar, tsaka po sa wind energy.
Okay. So, class, so we cannot be sure, about how much energy was left. So, we do not know that. Okay. So, class, educate yourself and learn to conserve. So, that is all for today. Stay safe and healthy. Thank you so much and God bless.